Hello everyone, welcome back again. So today we're going to be planting out the sweet corn. We're going to be planting it in this raised bed here, which is alongside the polytunnel. This side gets the most shelter, the most shade, which is why I want to plant the corn here, because it'll grow taller, it'll get more of the light than anything else. If I put anything low here, it's not going to get full sun. So my plan is the sweet corn should get full sun in here. I've also put a couple of sunflowers at the back, and I am going to interplant a couple of squash in with the corn. But the first thing we're going to do today is get this bed cleared, get all this cardboard out, get rid of these old pots, and get set up ready for planting. Right then, so now that we've got the bed cleared, I've added a couple of shovelfuls of the last material out the compost bin. There's a lot of big unbroken down bits in it and a bit of rubbish here and there, but we can pick that out as we go. This bed was covered in a load of homemade compost back in the winter and then covered over with all the cardboard. You can see me removing all that. So it's been protected. I had put some chicken manure down and a good layer of compost. So there's no need for me to really add anything into this. I will give them a liquid feed of nettle tea, probably a week after planting. But I think we've got 17 plants, so we're going to do 4 rows of 4 and 1 row with 5 in, and I am going to plant a couple of butternut squash in between them. So the variety that we've got are Golden Hind, and these are from Medwins of Anglesey. I started them in small pots and then repotted them into these trays about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and they have been outside here for the last week, just getting used to the outside temperatures and strengthening them up a bit with the wind. And I have got some side shoots developing on these, so I'm just going to pull those off. We don't want them. One, two. But there is a lovely root system on these. Really nice healthy white roots, really thick. 3 and 4. So I'm going to be spacing them about a foot, 12 inches apart either way. So that should give us plenty of space between them. And they should all have plenty of space to grow. It is better to grow corn in a block, which is why I like doing them in these raised beds. It gives us enough space to get a decent block of around 20 plants. Now the ground under here isn't great. I do believe there's a couple of slabs that run along here, which I've just hit the edge of it there, but it should be fine. If this one on the end doesn't grow very well, we know why. And I don't know if you've seen that then, or heard that then, but that helicopter nearly took the roof of the house out. It was really low. It looked like the RAF training helicopter. It does pass quite often. It scares the crap out of me every time it does. Do you know what? No. That slab needs to come out. I wasn't going to get anything planted into that, was I? Might as well pull this one out as well. Right, so we'll try that again then, shall we? Those slabs were right on the edge of this, but I have moved this bed over. Completely forgot that them slabs were there, to be honest with you. But yeah, I have moved this bed over just so I could get the wheelbarrow alongside here, so it's not as tight between the polytunnel and the bed. But at least now I'll be able to get these a bit deeper. Get rid of some of these stones. But aiming for a spacing of 12 inches or a foot apart. They do say you want your sweet corn knee high by July. So we're definitely on par for that. and I'm really happy with the growth on these this year. A lot of my regular viewers will know I didn't do any sweet corn last year because we still had loads in the freezer from the year before. Bloody stove. But you can't beat a nice fresh cob of corn. So I'm really looking forward to growing it this year. And who knows, maybe next year might get some down at the allotment as well. Right then guys, so now that we've got all the sweet corn planted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of butternut squash. I'm going to put one in that corner and one in this corner, and they can just sprawl out along the ground, keeping the ground nice and covered. One in here. One in here. Right then guys, that is going to be it for me today. All that's left to do with this is give it a good soak in later on this evening. But for now, that's going to be it for this video. Just like to say a massive thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe and drop me a comment below. Bye for now.